it will be a good idea to begin with US politics. To me, making the obvious point, to me at least, as I said, the assassination attempt on Donald Trump wasn't a setup by the Donald Trump camp. To me, any idea of that is an absurdity. I mean, imagine, for example, if somehow, their brilliant shot had aimed at Donald Trump's ear and a gust of wind had
Jack, can I
intervened.
just interrupt you there?
Right,
I'm
of
sorry,
course.
your picture is freezing intermittently, and
Okay.
promise a notice on this.
What do I do? Carry on?
Well, we can hear you clearly, but unfortunately, it's coming up that your Wi-Fi has got a very low width. So
Okay. All I can do
there
is
you are. You're fine again now, but
all I can do is apologize. It's explain. Yeah, I can connect connection stable. This is that Virgin Media did warn me. I have to say, I'll carry on, Bob, as long as my sound is all right. I mean, from my angle, I can see me moving, and I
yeah,
can hear myself. So
yeah,
if,
yeah.
if
We can hear you clearly. You're just intermittently freezing.
okay, well, bear with the freezing image and go
Okay.
with the spoken mess, I think is the advice here. Okay, anyway, so I'm dismissing the idea that this was the Republican job, a Trump job. Also say that any suggestion, at least at the moment, that this was the US deep state, the Democrats, the Biden camp, I would dismiss that. If they want to get Trump, they would get Trump, they would kill Trump. They certainly wouldn't just shoot him in the ear, because in terms of how these things go, this is only provoked sympathy for Trump. As a natural TV performer, he knew instinctively what to do. He wasn't dying. And so although the secret agents, FBI and all the rest of it were jumping on top of him as per instructions, he had the gumption to leap up and put his fist in the air. And yeah, I suppose he came out with the right line about unity of the American population. Either way, you would gather that in terms of his popular standing, it would have gone up by a percentage or two, which matters in a tight election, even with the electoral college system in the United States indicating that Trump is the most likely winner. Okay, and talking about luck, it has to be said that in terms of Biden, things go against him. And after his disastrous performance in the debate with Donald Trump, it was ghastly watching it. I had to feel some human sympathy for him. But if you were a Democrat, you just must have been cringing throughout that absolutely dire performance. And then, if you couldn't make matters worse, he goes and catches COVID. Now, my understanding is, apart from, wasn't it the Guinness case? I don't know if anyone is old enough to remember the conviction of the directors of Guinness for fraud. As far as I know, very few people recover from dementia. It tends to be progressive, and if he was showing clear signs of dementia in the first debate, chances are that the signs of dementia will increase with the second debate that's scheduled with Trump in September, let alone appearances on the stump. So one would reckon, I think, pretty safely now that in a contest between Trump, he's the Republican candidate, and Biden, it's Trump that looks set to win. And therefore, we have to answer the question, why is not only Trump, not only Biden, why is he insistent on still running, but why do allies, including on the left, want Biden to run? First explanation that we're given, at least by the BBC and other such outlets, is that Biden is a stubborn man. Now, I don't know anything about Biden as an individual, but I simply go, you've followed Israel closer than I have. You've got correspondence in the United States. Okay, I buy it. He's a stubborn man. But there's more to it, surely, than individual whim. Because if you look at the Democrat Party, while we have, at least we're told, and I believe it, Obama, while we have Hillary Clinton, while we have 36 other lawmakers in the United States, all Democrats hasten to add, urging him to step down, others are saying that he ought to run. And their calculation, I would guess, is based on opinion polls, but crucially, focus groups, and looking at the alternatives. And all we need to do is look at the standing, the popularity of the President Kamala Harris and other potential presidential candidates such as Gavin Newsom, governor of California, let alone others that I just note them down, J.B. Pritzker, Gretchen Whitmer, Jared Polis. I mean, okay, I'm not a student of American politics, but my guess would be that the great American public will be basically doing what I'm doing in terms of the mass of them going, who's that? And we need to emphasize that, of course, we've only got months to go before the actual presidential election takes place. So, yeah, maybe you can swing it around on a sixpence and, boost some candidate up in terms of public perception. But the chances are that they won't manage to do that. And we also ought to add that if you take Bernie Sanders and the so-called squad, they're also actually urging Biden to run. And I would suspect that in their case, what they are treating Biden as is the most pro-Labor Democratic president since whenever. Biden, yes, has supported strikes in terms of legislation. He's made some minor changes. He's introduced some sort of semi-Keynesian spending program to boost jobs and wages in the United States. So that's their excuse. Nonetheless, I have to say myself, again, hand on heart, I'm not a student of American politics. This is just a hunch. My guess is that sooner, and I suspect sooner rather than later, the voices in Biden's ear will become too great. In spite of his stubbornness, I would expect him to step down. He's physically frail, he's mentally frail, and that ain't gonna change. It's not a question of just dusting himself off and getting on with things. He's not in that situation. So I suspect myself that he will pull out. The Democrats obviously then have an open convention in Chicago. Who the hell emerges? I mean, I don't think anyone knows. You might say that Kamala Harris is the front runner, but it's by no means certain. but probability is that Trump will win. And maybe that explains why big business, not least Elon Musk, is donating large amounts to Trump. Sometimes, there is a debate in politics that, big business makes victories of one party or one particular presidential candidate or another. There's also, I'm not, this is neither or, but there's also the argument, and I would make that argument at least in part in Britain, in terms of July the 4th, that big business chases a winner. It wants to donate money to the party or the candidate of the winner because it wants to ensure that when they're in office, they can make the phone call, it will be picked up, and they can have direct communications with those in power. So we have not only the Labour Party in Britain courting the city, we also had, of course, the city courting the Labour Party. And so, yeah, Elon Musk has donated, or at least announced that he's donating $45 million every month to the Trump campaign. And as I say, my expectation is that he's doing that not because he wants to make Trump the winner. I think Trump is already the winner, barring accidents. Accidents, of course, do happen. But he wants to actually influence the winner. And so, for example, and again, I didn't watch this one, in Trump's convention speech, apparently, he attacked electric vehicles, and said they're too expensive. I think Elon Musk wants to influence not the future president, but the president that comes in January. Just a note, I think it's worthwhile making the point that from a Marxist point of view, we don't discount the role of individuals. We don't discount the role of accident. Clearly, that bullet could have hit Trump, not just in the ear, but in the middle of his head. It could have blown his head apart, and he would be an ex-presidential candidate, and everything would then be different. I mean, who would be your alternative other than Trump? Well, maybe because they announced, Vance as the vice presidential candidate, maybe it would be him. Who the hell knows? Either way, Marx basically stressed the bigger picture: classes, historical trends, modes of production. So in terms of what I've just been saying about being a winner is not the result of some sophisticated Marxist analysis. It's worth as much as the punter who goes down the betting office and says, I think Trump will win. I mean, it's nothing more than that. I'm not claiming anything particularly profound in saying that. If that bullet had been blown this way or that way by the wind and it got Trump in the middle of it, history would be different. And we can speculate how, pretty waste of time, but it would have been different. So yeah, my own take on Vance and the Muslim bomb and all, I take it as what he said, and that's a joke. We had a Hindu prime minister. We didn't have a Muslim prime minister. And even if Sadiq Khan became prime minister by some fluky set of circumstances, this would not be a nuclear power that would be in alignment with I don't know, the Houthis or the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt or whatever. So I'm taking it as a joke. And all I would say, that if you're a top Labour politician, I do emphasize top, you'll be very well aware that it's not just Biden that's old. Trump looks like the winner, but he's old. And therefore, what you're looking at almost likely is J.D. Vance being the next president after one. And would you want to upset the next president bar one? I mean, vice presidents don't particularly matter, but presidents do. And the answer is no. So you're not going to be going out to rant and rave at him. David Lammy will be on the phone to Trump. Zelensky will be on the phone to Trump. Money's flowing into Trump's coffers from Elon Musk because he looks like the winner. And so therefore, you've got to do business with Trump and his vice president, and you're not going to pull, the tail of the tiger. At least I would advise it. So yeah, Mike Belbin, you raised the question of the individual again. I'm not going to comment further on that one. Tina, I mean, I'm glad I'm not on these forums where you get endless conspiracy theories. Of course, there are conspiracies. We are not that foolish. But I do think it's a product of atomization. I do think it's the result of the disorientation of the left. On the other hand, I'd also take the view that it swings and roundabouts. I think it's a very good idea to have a very skeptical attitude to the BBC, to the Guardian, to the Daily Mail, to the Mirror, to the Sun, to the person on the bus stop. It's a very good idea to have a skeptical attitude to what we're told are facts. After all, common sense will tell you that the left is riddled with anti-Semites. Common sense will tell you that anti-Semitism now means being critical of the Netanyahu government. Like the majority of these UN judges, the 11 that found against Israel. That's common sense. I think it's a very good attitude to have. Is that really the case? So yeah, not believing anything would be a problem, but believing everything is also a problem.